This is the Fierce Heart Alliance. Our focus is spirituality with purpose, exquisite self-care, and conscious community. Hi, I'm Summer Sophia Moon, and I've come here to heal myself and chew bubblegum. And guess what? I'm all out of bubblegum. So join me and my special guests as we share and learn how to love ourselves fiercely through self-care and explore the wisdom of the harmonic virtues. These virtues are based on the laws of the universe and channeled wisdom to cultivate more resiliency, purpose, and harmony through self-care and self-awareness. By listening, you are now a fierce heart too. Welcome to the Fierce Heart Alliance. Before I begin today's topic, I'd like to say thank you to our listeners and our subscribers. You're always welcome here. We'd like to honor the indigenous peoples whose land we reside. Thank you for showing us how to be in harmony with Mother Earth. Thank you to the ancestors and spirit guides and friends who are assisting us here today. May these words be a force for good and timelessly infused with light and held in the frequency of rose quartz to spread healing and peace in the world around us. If there's any words left unsaid, we trust in spirit to make things right and let it gently ease into our consciousness as necessary for understanding in our own time and in our own way for the highest and most benevolent outcomes for all. And so it is. Thank you. Hey Fierce Hearts, today is our self-care episode. This month we're exploring the virtue of polarity, and we can think of a pendulum where there's a swing from side to side or two magnets attracting or repelling each other. And as mentioned in previous episodes, this can be found everywhere in our lives, from astrology and nature to within us, with our emotions and even down to our cellular level. So what does polarity have anything to do with self-care? Well, if we look at polarity itself, within the confines of the two opposing forces, on opposite sides of self-care, we have care and we have neglect, and we have action versus inaction. When people think about self-care, it typically comes from a place of feeling they need to be doing something or doing more stretching, more exercise, more quality time with loved ones or friends, more saving money, more travel, more organizing, more cooking of healthy food, and more clean water, etc. The list is kind of endless. And while all those things are wonderful, we can look at that list and wonder, how are we going to fit it all in? On the positive side, that can be motivating and it can feel accomplishing and sustainable to some. On the other side, on the negative side, it can feel a little overwhelming to get all those things in. For some of us, and especially if it's not perfect, it's all or nothing, right? We should just give up because we feel uncomfortable to try new things. And yeah, I want to do all that, but tomorrow. Does that sound familiar? So as mentioned, the polarity of self-care is action versus inaction. And that's just one of many polarities you can look at, but that's the one we're going to work on for this moment. So the positive side of the inaction could be meditation or more sleep, practicing being in the present moment, relaxing while reading a book. You're technically still doing something, but it's more of a sedate internal experience as opposed to getting out and doing something and having a checklist to tackle. So a good example of this, author Véronique Vienn's book, The Art of Doing Nothing, simply put, and to quote the description, is a practical guide to rest and relaxation. It ushers us into a world where being is more compelling than doing. And then there's also Annette Lavrigen's book, Nikesen, Embracing the Dutch Art of Doing Nothing. First there was Hygge, and now there's Nikesen, a simple Dutch philosophy for anyone looking to slow down, relax, and daydream. The point is that self-care does not always have to be a to-do list. While goals and lists are great and can be helpful to keep our lives organized, self-care can also be, and should be, all the small moments in the day where you check into yourself, your personal state, or check in with your feelings in any certain situation. Self-care does not have to be grand gestures, for it's the small actions over a long period of time that can help rewrite your unconscious to your consciousness. Now, whether you take action or practice inaction, self-care can help us mend our wounds and help us to show ourselves we are worthy of more. Self-love is only ever really cultivated through acts of self-care. And I'm going to get on my soapbox for a second that we live in a society that indoctrinates us to look outside of ourselves and to feel like we're lacking something. So it's my opinion that it is one of the most societally rebellious things that we can do. And I know I'm not the only one who has this belief. And it's not about foofy things, or at least not all of it is. We need our soft blankets and our cozy sweaters, but it is about survival in this day and age. The media and society want us to be engulfed in fear, and it makes us sick to death. So we get lost in their systems and we're stuck relying on them. And, I typically ask my guests why self care is important to them. And I've already answered that question a little bit at the beginning of this season of this podcast, but I'll take a little bit of time to further elaborate it on here for this episode. I've been working towards self-love for a number of years now, and sometimes I'm closer to that than other times, and I fall back in old patterns sometimes. But overall, my health, I'm very healthy, and however, I'm not the weight that I prefer myself to be. And let's be honest, I've struggled with my weight for a long time, and I used to correlate my weight with my worth, and the lower the number on the scale, the higher my worth would be. Finally getting honest with myself about this a few years ago, it slowly lost importance to me. And now I see my weight as just a number or data. Also, tracking your weight when you're lifting weights doesn't reflect all the muscle that you have. Sometimes I'd start to lose weight naturally, and then I would realize that I'm losing weight, and then I would get hypercritical and then start to gain weight again. So it's just been this cycle and this journey, and I'm on it, and I've come a long way, and I'm actually not that far from my goal. However, I've just decided that I'm tired. I'm tired of disliking myself, of being hypercritical on myself. And maybe it's because I'm getting older, I'm not sure, but I've just hit a wall in thinking negative about myself, and I'm tired of comparing myself to others. It's exhausting. I've finally gotten to a point where I love myself for who I am and where I am, regardless of my weight. To continue hating myself feels like an ascent up a steep mountain when there's this level, beautiful path that's walking by a river or something like that. It takes time, however, to let go of old thoughts and beliefs and to finally accept myself. And it's been a little bit of a journey. This is why I feel speaking about self-care is so important, because I don't think I could have gotten to this point in this realization without self-care that I've done for myself. And there's just no room for the negativity anymore. So coming back around to the polarity itself, I'm sure there are many polarities we can talk about, and I'm speaking about the polarity of action versus inaction and neglect versus care. And if we look at those polarities, it suggests that there's some sort of potential for a happy medium between the polarities. And the best thing I can think of that can sum it up for both of them would be imperfect action. And sometimes our effort isn't always the best, but it is an effort towards our intentions. So I joined a gym recently because I've been trying to do home workouts, and it's very difficult for me with all the distractions and everything to keep disciplined. And I know that when I'm at a gym, I tend to push myself a little bit more. Thus, I start seeing results. It's really easy to run short on time. We're busy doing this and that, and we run out of time for self-care or these little things that could build up into self-care. I know this about myself. And my goal when I joined the gym was not to work out, but to just get to the gym, to establish the routine, to establish the habit that this is just something that I do now. I just go to the gym. And it takes a lot of stress and pressure out of the goal is just get to the gym. And I get to the gym and I've already succeeded. I'm following through on the promises that I'm making to myself. And so after a couple weeks, typically 3, I have developed a habit. And so in 3 weeks, I'll have been able to hone in on getting to the gym by a certain time frame in the morning so that I have enough time to work out. And had I gone by my old ways of thinking, I might have only made it 1 or 2 times in 3 weeks. Instead, I'm able to make it at least 6 times over the last few weeks. So sometimes I've only had about 5 minutes on the treadmill, and that's okay because my goal was accomplished. I was at the gym. It's my imperfect action to make it to the gym, because once I have that habit established, I'll have enough time to work out. And so it's really easy for us to make excuses. Part of self-care is to be watchful for how we kid ourselves and to find ways to follow through on the resolutions and the goals we set for ourselves. And not saying we have to do everything on that list, but we can start with imperfect action towards one goal and break it down into parts that are more attainable. And we can look at that list of things and ask what our future selves would be thankful for if we did it, and then we can focus on that. And with the self-love piece, for me, I know that I'm working out now because I love myself. I love my body, and I want her to be healthy and strong, not because I feel pressure to look a certain way. And I'm worthy regardless of my pant size. So that's all for this week. Please like and subscribe. It helps this podcast more than you know, and you can follow the Fierce Heart Alliance on Facebook and Instagram for weekly inspiration. Check out our website at fierceheartalliance.com and get your free guide to work with the harmonic virtues yourself. Next week is our charity episode from Mercy Corps. Take care, Fierce Hearts. Till next time.